Hi, beautiful souls. Welcome back to another timeless reading. I'm Rose, and today we are stepping in energy that feels incredibly special, emotional, and full of anticipation. There is something approaching your life that you may not be expecting in the exact way it arrives. The energy around this reading speaks about commitment, emotional security, a serious decision, and a moment where someone finally becomes brave enough to reveal what has been sitting inside their heart. For some of you, this may literally connect with a marriage proposal or a conversation about taking your relationship to the next level. For others, it may begin with a confession, a reunion, an unexpected message, or a conversation that changes the entire direction of your connection. So take a deep breath, settle into this reading, and remember that this is a collective message. Take what resonates with your heart and gently leave behind anything that does not. Because the first message coming through is this. Someone has been thinking much more seriously about you than they have allowed you to see. There is a person who may appear calm on the outside, but internally they have been replaying memories, imagining possibilities, and wondering what their future could look like with you. They may have thought about you during quiet moments. They may have pictured what it would feel like to introduce you as their partner. They may have wondered what it would be like to wake up beside you, build a home with you, celebrate important moments with you, and eventually call you their family. And this is why the energy feels different. This is not simply about attraction. This is about someone beginning to understand the value of having you permanently in their life. There is a beautiful shift happening here. Perhaps previously this person was uncertain. Maybe they were moving slowly. Maybe they had fears about commitment. Maybe they were trying to understand their own emotions before making a serious decision. But something has changed. Their perspective has matured. They are starting to realize that waiting forever will not make their feelings disappear. In fact, the longer they remain away from you, the more clearly they understand what they actually want. And for some of you, this realization may have happened because of distance. Sometimes people understand the importance of a person only after experiencing their absence. When your presence is no longer easily available, the silence becomes louder, the memories become stronger, the little things become meaningful. A conversation you once had, a smile you gave them. A place you visited together, a simple message, a moment when you looked at them in a way nobody else did. All of these memories may have been returning to this person's mind. And eventually they begin asking themselves a very serious question. What am I waiting for? That question is powerful. Because when someone reaches the point where they stop asking whether they should move forward and start asking when they should move forward, the entire energy changes. I feel that someone may be quietly preparing themselves for a major conversation. They could be planning what to say. They could be thinking about how to approach you. They could even be discussing you with someone they trust. For some of you, there may be a close friend, sibling, family member, or trusted person who already knows about this situation. And this person may know more than you realize. There is an energy of something being prepared behind the scenes. You may not see the planning. You may not know the conversations. You may not realize how many thoughts are happening before the moment reaches you. That is why this reading carries such a strong feeling of surprise. You could be looking at your ordinary life and thinking that nothing unusual is happening. But underneath the surface, something may already be moving. And when it finally becomes visible, you may think, I had no idea this was coming. That is the feeling I get strongly. You are not necessarily supposed to know every detail before it happens. Sometimes the magic is in the reveal. Sometimes the most beautiful moments arrive when we stop trying to predict every step. You may have been wondering about your love life. You may have asked yourself whether someone truly sees a future with you. You may have questioned whether their feelings are genuine. You may even have experienced moments when you thought, perhaps I am imagining the connection. But this reading carries a different message. Look at actions. Look at consistency. Look at emotional maturity. Look at whether someone is gradually becoming more intentional with you. Because serious love does not always announce itself loudly in the beginning. Sometimes it grows quietly. Someone begins making space for you. They begin considering your feelings before making decisions. They start talking about the future differently. They become more protective of the connection. They stop treating the relationship like something temporary. And eventually, they realize that they no longer want to simply experience love with you. They want to build something with you. That distinction is important. There is a difference between someone wanting your attention and someone wanting your future. And the energy here feels much closer to the second one. For some of you, there may be a proposal energy specifically around this reading. But I want you to understand something. A proposal is not only about a ring, it is about a decision. It represents someone saying, I am choosing you. I am willing to step forward. I am willing to build. I am willing to be seen with you. I am willing to take responsibility for the love I feel. And that is what makes this energy so powerful. The person connected to you may have been afraid of making promises because promises create responsibility. Maybe they have seen relationships fail around them. Maybe they have experienced disappointment. Maybe they once trusted someone and were hurt. Maybe they have spent years convincing themselves that they do not need anyone. And then you entered their life. You challenged that belief without even trying. You showed them that love could feel peaceful instead of exhausting. You showed them that connection could feel natural. You may have made them feel understood in a way they were not accustomed to. And that can be frightening for someone who has always protected their emotions. Because when you meet someone who feels different, you cannot easily pretend that the connection does not matter. This person may have tried, they may have distracted themselves, they may have stayed busy, they may have convinced themselves that they needed more time. But the heart does not always cooperate with the mind. Eventually, the truth becomes impossible to ignore. And their truth may be that they want you, not just for a moment, not just for attention, but for something lasting. Now, I also feel that some of you are entering a period where your own standards are changing. You are no longer willing to accept confusion as love. You are no longer interested in chasing someone for basic attention. You are beginning to understand your own value. And strangely enough, this may be one of the reasons the energy is shifting toward you. When you stop chasing, you create space for someone else to step forward. When you stop forcing conversations, someone has to decide whether they are willing to communicate. When you stop proving that you are worthy, the right person begins recognizing your worth without needing to be convinced. So if you have recently felt like you are becoming more peaceful, more independent, or more detached from the outcome, do not assume that nothing is happening. Sometimes your inner transformation happens immediately before your outer circumstances change. You may begin noticing little signs. You may repeatedly hear conversations about marriage. You may see engagement announcements. You may hear a particular love song everywhere. You may unexpectedly encounter someone connected to this person. You may dream about weddings, rings, homes, celebrations, or reunions. You may suddenly receive a message after a long period of silence. These things do not have to be treated as guarantees or predictions carved in stone. Instead, allow them to become gentle reminders to remain open to possibilities. Your intuition matters more than fear. And there is something else coming through very strongly. Do not sabotage a beautiful moment because you are afraid it cannot last. Sometimes people become so accustomed to disappointment that happiness feels suspicious. They think, why is this happening so easily? What is going to go wrong? Can I really trust this? But you are allowed to experience something good without immediately searching for the hidden problem. You are allowed to receive. You are allowed to be loved. You are allowed to have someone make an effort for you. You are allowed to hear words that you have secretly wished to hear. And when that moment arrives, do not immediately think about the past. Be present. Feel the emotion. Look at the person standing in front of you. Listen to what they are saying. Notice how their energy feels. Let yourself experience the moment before your mind begins analyzing it. Because I feel that this could be one of those moments where everything becomes unusually quiet. Perhaps you are somewhere completely ordinary. Maybe you are having dinner. Maybe you are taking a walk. Maybe you are traveling. Maybe you are visiting a familiar place. Maybe you believe it is simply another normal day. And then suddenly, the atmosphere changes. Someone becomes nervous. Their voice changes. They may look at you differently. They may take your hand. They may begin talking about everything that brought them to this moment. And then comes the question. The question that makes time stop. The question that makes your heart race. The question you may remember for the rest of your life. For some, it could be an actual proposal. For others, it could be a serious declaration of commitment that eventually leads toward engagement or marriage. Either way, the message is about someone moving from uncertainty into intention. That is the transformation. They are no longer simply wondering what could happen. They are beginning to decide what they want to happen. And there is a beautiful energy around your future that says you should not underestimate what can change in a short period of time. A situation that feels completely stagnant today can look entirely different later. A person who seems distant can suddenly become expressive. A conversation that never happened can finally happen. A relationship that felt undefined can finally receive a name. A person who once avoided commitment can begin talking about permanence. Life can change quickly when someone finally becomes honest with themselves, and I feel that honesty is approaching. There may be an emotional confession before the commitment. Someone may tell you that they were scared. They may admit they did not know how to express themselves. They may confess that they thought about you more than they showed. They may tell you that losing the connection made them realize its importance. They may even say that they had been imagining a future with you for longer than you knew. Let them speak. You do not have to interrupt their vulnerability with old arguments. You do not have to immediately remind them of everything they did wrong. There will be time for honest conversations about the past. But if someone genuinely comes forward with sincerity, allow yourself to listen. At the same time, remember that love should be supported by action. Words are beautiful, but consistency is what creates security. If this person truly wants a future, their behavior will eventually demonstrate it. They will make plans. They will communicate. They will show up. They will make room for you. They will respect your boundaries. They will demonstrate that commitment is more than a romantic sentence. And that is what you deserve. You deserve love that feels safe enough to breathe inside. You deserve someone who does not make you question your worth every morning. You deserve someone who can communicate instead of disappearing. You deserve someone who chooses you with clarity. So if this reading resonates, I want you to remember one thing. Do not spend every day waiting for the proposal. Live your life, grow, laugh, travel, create, take care of yourself. Enjoy your friendships, work toward your dreams, become so connected to your own life that love becomes a beautiful addition rather than the only source of your happiness. Because the strongest love does not ask you to abandon yourself. It meets you as you are becoming the fullest version of yourself. And perhaps that is why this moment feels close. You are changing. Your standards are changing. Your understanding of love is changing. And the kind of relationship you are willing to accept is changing. So the next chapter cannot look exactly like the previous one. Something has to evolve. For some of you, this evolution may be with an existing person. For others, it may be someone new entering your life who immediately understands that they do not want to waste time. Either way, the central message remains the same. A serious romantic energy is approaching, a decision is being made, a heart is becoming more courageous, and something that once seemed uncertain may soon become much clearer. If you have been asking the universe for confirmation that love can still surprise you, consider this your reminder to remain open. Not desperate, not waiting anxiously. Open. There is a difference. Desperation says, I need this to happen. Openness says, I trust that what is meant for me will meet me in the right way. Choose openness, choose peace, choose discernment. And when the moment arrives, choose what feels healthy, mutual, respectful, and real. Because your future should not only look beautiful from a distance. It should feel beautiful while you are living it. Before we close this reading, I want you to take one slow breath. Think about the love you truly desire, not the fantasy. Not the person you have to chase. Not the connection that keeps you confused. Think about the kind of love that makes you feel respected, valued, protected, understood, and chosen. Hold that feeling for a moment, because that is the energy you are being invited to recognize. The next chapter may not arrive exactly as you imagined. It may be better because it is real. And when someone finally steps forward with a serious heart, you will know that the moment is not simply about a question. It is about everything that question represents. Commitment, trust, partnership, a shared future, and the courage to say, I want to build this with you. So beautiful soul, keep your heart open, but keep your standards high. Do not chase the announcement. Do not force the timing. Let people reveal themselves through their actions. And if a proposal, commitment, confession, or life-changing romantic conversation is coming towards you, allow it to unfold naturally. You do not have to control every detail. Sometimes the most unforgettable chapters begin on ordinary days. Sometimes the person who surprises you is the person who has been quietly preparing for the moment. And sometimes the answer arrives after you have finally stopped asking the question. Your story is still unfolding. There are pages you have not read yet. There are conversations you have not heard yet. There are memories you have not created yet. And there may be a beautiful moment waiting somewhere ahead that you cannot see from where you are standing today. So keep moving forward, keep becoming, keep loving yourself. And remember that you are not behind. You are not too late. Your timeline does not need to look like anyone else's. What belongs in your life will not require you to destroy your peace to receive it. If this reading resonated with you, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you can join me for future readings. And if you feel comfortable, share your thoughts in the comments. Tell me what kind of love you are calling into your life, or simply write, "I am ready for something real." Share this reading with someone who needs a little hope today. And remember, beautiful soul, sometimes the biggest changes begin quietly. A thought becomes a decision becomes an action becomes a conversation, and one conversation can change an entire future. So do not underestimate what may already be developing behind the scenes. Your next chapter may be closer than you think. Until next time, protect your peace, trust your intuition, and never forget that you deserve a love that chooses you clearly, consistently, and wholeheartedly. I'm Rose, sending you love, light, and beautiful energy. May your heart receive exactly the kind of love that allows it to feel safe, cherished, and free. And when your beautiful moment arrives, I hope you recognize it.